Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the frontline changes for the past 2 days and includes some of the latest frontline changes for today. And the past 2 days, there's insane amount of frontline changes. I think I never done so many changes in such a short span of time. But anyway, but when you consolidate, of course, it doesn't look that much. But almost every front line is affected. I think except Sumy and Bakhmut was not affected, and I think almost every front line and Kherson. So we're going to jump straight into it. So we're going to go to the first one is over in Vovchansk. So over in the Kharkiv front. So this is Kharkiv. Over in the Vovchansk sector, we have two frontline changes in these two areas. So geolocations of Russian forces has confirmed the Russians advance in Vovchansk. Oh my god, the mouse is too fast. Give me a second. So make it a bit thinner, too thick. And so Russian forces have advanced in the city of Vovchansk. And based on Russian mapping, they have claimed that they have expanded again further, taking basically almost the entirety of the western part of Vovchansk city, the western part. So this is pretty big. I think I can zoom in one more layer. Yeah, I can. So all of this is now allegedly under Russian control, and that's quite a bit. These claims, this one is captured because this confirmed corroboration of the Russian claims because of the geolocation. I forgot to turn this off. So the advance in this southern part is probably around 500 meters. This one, the advance along the railway line is around also 500 plus meters. So the city of Vovchansk is slowly falling. The battle is raging. This sector here. So nearby, over on the east of Vovchansk, we have at Tykhe. This is based on Russian claims. So we have previous Russian Defense Ministry announcement claiming the capture of Tykhe. And so we now have some kind of mapping, at least from the Russian side, to confirm the Russian forces have captured all of this sector here in Tykhe. Sorry, that's my WhatsApp. Let me mute it. Mute. So Russian forces captured all of these forests in this northern part of Vovchansk Kotori, because there's a bridge here. This is part of Vovchansk Kotori, and they have taken the big forest here through the plantations and go into Tykhe, the eastern part of Tykhe. So this is a pretty significant advance by the Russian forces in this sector, securing the entire region here. Tykhe is also claimed to be captured by the Russian forces. So that's the situation over here. After this, we go to Bohorodychne over in the Dvorichna front. This is Dvorichna. Over in Bohorodychne region, the Russian forces has been advancing in this sector as well. So geolocation of Russian forces has been noted in this area here. Previously, this is a Russian claim. So actually we can actually update this further. Komar capture 24. So this is based on the latest information from the geolocation. Russian forces actually advanced into Bohorodychne, and so this corroborates Russian claims. So we have added the additional information to confirm the Russian capture north of this position. So this sector here is now confirmed. The Russian forces is probably have captured the whole of Bohorodychne by the look of it. At this moment, not yet. I think there is a few more houses in the south, but most likely they have captured the whole thing. So that is Bohorodychne. The advance is at least probably on average 1.5 kilometers. So that is Bohorodychne over in the Dvorichna front. So the next frontline change, we go to Stavki. Stavki is over the Lyman front. This is a small change. So Krasny Lyman is over here. In the north of Stavki, we have a geolocation of Russian forces in the north of Stavki. So we zoom in a bit. So this advance, because this is open ground, so I've drawn a triangle like this, and the advance here is around 500 meters around there. So that's Stavki over in the Lyman front. After Stavki, the next front line change is over at Novosilka, over in the Siversk front. So this is Siversk, the fortress city of Siversk. This is so Novosilka is here. This is I think an abandoned village, and two geolocations, one here, another one here, confirm the Russians capture around here. This secures the western outskirts of Kamyaneske, which is over here. This is Kamyaneske, and so the Russians also seemingly have advanced along the lake and probably from the north, securing this sector here. And as the Russians continue to push closer and closer to Siversk city, and the advance in this sector is probably around 800 meters on average. So that's the Novosilka in the Siversk front, and more to come. We go on to the Konstyantynivka front. This sector here, there's a lot of frontline change. Most of this, if not all of this, is all Russian claims. So this is all Russian claims. So this is based on Russian mapping, except for one. There's one over here in the south of Plichievka, northeast of Klerbambik. There's a geolocation of Russian forces at this fortification here. So this confirms the Russian advance from the railway line and the Siversky Donets River, and advancing. So from this position to the lake is 400 meters. So essentially we are seeing some kind of encirclement already. This sector here is already closed. Ukrainians will not be able to advance through this gap, because if the Russians able to secure this position, then Ukrainians are basically encircled inside the Srebrenica salient. So this is the confirmed one. However, based on Russian mapping, there's a lot of claims. So we have northeast of Ivanopilia, the Russian mapping claim that they have straightened the front line in that sector. So we have this confirmed advance by the Russians. Russian mapping also have mapped that this sector here along the railway line has been taken by the Russian forces, and they have extended control from this area here. This what town is this? Alexandro Kalinove, leading all the way to Klerbambik, and basically captured the entirety of Klerbambik and entirety of Katerinivka and the entirety of Srebrenica. So this is the Russian claim of advance in this sector here, which is pretty extensive. All of these areas is now mapped by the Russian mapping to have been captured by the Russian side. However, this is entirely not corroborated by the Ukrainian side. Ukrainian mapping in the Konstantinivka front is the most diverted away from the Russian perspective. So that is the parallel universe here is the worst. I think now it's worse than the Pokrovsk breakout zone. So this is the imagery of the Russians. So the front line now looks like this, largely. There is some gray zones into this sector here, but this probably don't make sense because of how the geolocations and everything works out. Our mapping simply shows that the Russian perspective is also a bit warped, also not entirely accurate in my opinion. But let's see, time will tell. So after Konstantinivka front, the next frontline change is the big changes over in the Pokrovsk breakout zone, the evil rabbit front, which no longer look like a rabbit. So in the north, around Zoloty Kolodzias and Khrushchev here, Russian mapping as well as Ukrainian mapping has confirmed that the Ukrainian forces have captured most of Khrushchev here, if not all of it. Vasily has been fully secured by the Ukrainian forces. Ukrainian forces have taken most of Kusherev here, an attack coming from the Rodynske direction. And Ukrainian mapping, this is a claim, but most likely this is going to be accurate. Ukrainian forces have secured Petrivka and secured the surroundings around Zalety Kolosias and straightened the front line from Kusherev leading to Rubizne. Rubizne also allegedly is now under Ukrainian control, allegedly. So there's these 2 years, right? So the one of the year is now cut off. The other one, which is the other side here, is only a claim. We cannot fully confirm this yet. This is just a one-sided mapping. Russian mapping Ryba do not claim all these areas, but the problem with this sector is that we map this based on geolocations. So it would be preferable that we'll have some new geolocations that can help us, confirm the Ukrainian advance. But I got a feeling that the Ukrainians did indeed take back all of these areas here. So this is just some heads up. So it's not a code mapping. It's just like I'm not coping for the Russians. There's no reason to do it. But the thing is that we need to have some evidence in terms of this, because I didn't map this based on Russian mapping either. This is all mapped based on geolocation, which is why the weightage is a bit heavier than just claims. So anyway, this advance from Versailles all the way to the end of Kusherev, this is pretty big. This is 5 kilometers advance. So this past 2-3 days, the Ukrainians have been taking back all of these areas here. So this is the major counteroffensive by the Ukrainians. However, the Russians are conducting their own offensive further south. So anyway, the Ukrainian claims includes Novichokove as well. This is also a Ukrainian claim. They claim that this sector here has been taken by the Ukrainian forces as they continue to counterattack and try to take back the grounds, the rabbit ears. Russian force, however, Ukrainian mapping also updated to show that the Russian forces actually advanced in the east of Shakove. So this is a kind of a weird shuffle where everybody is moving eastward together at the same time. So that is a very interesting situation. They are like all shifting together, all shifting east. So let's see how this goes. The advance by the Ukrainians is around almost 1 kilometer. The Russians' advance is around 1.4 kilometers. So let's see how this continue to develop. Very interesting as the Ukrainians are attacking this way and the Russians are attacking like this way. Yeah, they're going to shift the whole front line like eastward. So anyway, after this, south of this position, we have front line change at Rodynske. So this is based on geolocation. Russian forces geolocated at the end at this point, confirming the Russians have advanced deeper into Rodynske. So you can see how the front line is very splitted. With the Ukrainian counteroffensive going on in the north, the Russians continue to consolidate their position in the south. Rodynske advance is around 700 plus meters. Further south, we have more mappings. So around Promin, first thing first, at Horodivka region here, this area here, the Ukrainian mapping have considered that they have lost this position northwest of Horodivka. So this is already long has been claimed to be taken by the Russian forces. So the Ukrainian side just considered this. Russian mapping, however, have now expanded their claims to include everything east of Promin and around Mykolaivka. So you can see the shift again, but in the opposite direction in this area here. So we shall see how these continue to develop. Promin is in danger. Probably is going to get captured very, very soon. The advance by the Russians is around 1 kilometer, but this is a claim, so we cannot confirm this, but there's a high possibility of capture because of the situation happening in the Balahan-Kozatske region. In the Konstyantynivka region, this is one of the latest information as well. Geolocation of Russian forces is noted in the south of Pokrovsk. And this is pretty significant because with this geolocation over here, we can confirm that the Russian forces have captured Novopolevka, Konstyantynivka, and Shunishine, because this area here, the Russians must have advance from Novopalevka region to reach this point, which means that to attack here means Chunichne must be under Russian control. The entire railway line must be taken by the Russian side, and the entirety of Novopalevka must be captured as well. If not, they wouldn't have pushed out into a more difficult battle space. Of course, potentially the Russians could attack from the west, but they have to go through the high-rise zone, which I think less likely to be the case. Although there's the chance of Ukrainians being here is now a question mark because of how insane the front line has become, how the situation here has deteriorate so badly for the Ukrainians. So advance in this sector here is around almost 2 kilometers. So this is a very, very fast advance by the Russians, which might signal the possibility that the Ukrainians have largely redrawn from this area here because of the inability to defend. I'm expecting a very fast advance by the Russian forces to capture the entire southern half of Pokrovsk up to the railway line in the near future because of how the situation have become untenable for the Ukrainian side, which means Mykolaivka will be in big danger because of the potential cutting off and operational encirclement. So situation is going to be bad. I don't want to go too much of analysis. I will talk more about this in the sit rep. In the north of Pokrovsk, in Pokrovsk center, Russian forces have been geolocated in a new position, confirm the Russian expansion around the railway station. So the Russian forces continue to secure a strong foothold in the center of Pokrovsk. And so the Battle of Pokrovsk continues. Moving west over at Molodetske, we have a geolocation of Russian forces. Let me see, maybe zoom out a bit better at this position. So this sector here is confirmed to be Russian forces entering into Molodetske. However, based on Russian mapping, they have drawn the map even wider, and this includes the peripheral areas around this sector of capture, and they probably almost claim the full of Molodetske with their claim. So this is a very big frontline change. You can see that the claim is almost the entirety of Molodetske. So this advance here, based from the claim, it can be as far as 3.5 kilometers. I would say on average it's around 2.7. So this is still massive advance, which also might be an indication of the lack of Ukrainian forces defending this area. Ukrainian forces may have fallen to the next line of defense, probably due to intense pressure from the Russians. So that's another big frontline change at this sector. This is the border here. For those that was always complaining about the border, the oblast border has always been there. It was in gray. So I put it into white so that you can see it even clearer. So the border is here. You can see this line here. So the Russians may not necessarily push into Novopihorodne. Just want to say, because of their weird the classification of the war. And we go into the Komar front. And at the Komar front, Russian forces have entered into Ivanivka. So geolocation of Russian forces deep inside of Ivanivka confirm this information of the Russians' advance in this area here. The piece in the south is actually by Deep State UA. So we have geolocation to confirm the Ukrainian mapping, but the advance is much deeper, but 2 days later. So the Russians have already claimed the capture of Ivanivka. So they have claimed the capture. So we should expect more frontline changes from Ivanivka as more footages and information come to the public domain after these Russian claims of capture. After Ivanivka, you can see this is a very long report. It's an insane number of frontline change. Over at Novosilivka, another Novosilivka. So this is based on geolocation as well. We have geolocation north of Novosilivka, which confirms the Russians' advance in the north of Silivka. This is invalidation of Ukrainian claims. So Ukraine still claims some kind of a gray zone or capture around here. So it's not under Ukrainian control, it's not under Russian control. A very small change. Advance is probably around 400 meters through the forest. Moving into the Hulyaipole sector. Hulyaipole is over here. We have the Russian forces entering to Zlahoda, also known as Pokrovsk, if I'm not wrong. Two geolocation confirms the Russian advance into Zlahoda, and they probably have captured the whole village. There is still a little bit of village in the south, but most likely they have captured this. The advance is around 1 kilometer. So in nearby at Mykolaivka, so this is a chunk of situation. So let me see how. Okay, so this piece here, this is a Ukrainian mapping. They have mapped that the Russian forces have advanced out of Bohorodychne. And then we have geolocation of Russian forces at Mykolaivka. There is actually two geolocations. So another one is over here. So these two geolocations confirm that the Russian forces have captured the whole of Mykolaivka. So this is confirmed capture by the Russian forces. Then the Russian mapping mapped that this sector here is actually also under Russian control, which is why we have this pink area here, which signifies some kind of a straightened front line between the two advances that is confirmed. This small piece here is Ukrainian mapping. They have mapped a slightly more advanced position by the Russians at Novosilka. So that is the frontline changes in all of these areas. The maximum advance here is around 2.3 kilometers. So yeah, this front line here is definitely collapsing with this fast advance, and Ukrainians seems to have not too much ideas how to defend these areas. So things are moving really fast, and this is a very good defense line, if there's any. So if the Ukrainians cannot defend here, and then problems are, things is going to be very bad. Over in the east of Mykolaivka, we have some advance in this sector as well. So Ukrainian mapping have mapped that the Russian forces have taken everything east of the river, the Yanchu River. So all of these areas here is and north of Orikhiv is all under Russian control. So the advance in this sector here is around 1.6 kilometers. So this sector here definitely just collapsed. There is no Ukrainian forces defending there, and the entire thing, east of the river is now secured, which means the Ukrainian forces have actually abandoned everything east of the river, which is not a surprise because there's no crossing around here. It's just river all the way. So, and there's not much place to hide. So abandoning of the position doesn't defy logic. So, and over in Pokrovsk, this is a Ukrainian mapping as well. They have mapped that the Russian forces have secured the eastern outskirts of Pokrovsk, with the Russian forces taking more tree lines and securing this entire sector here. So this is a pretty logical advance, nothing particularly special about the advance in this sector here. So I'm not going to talk too much about it. And after this, we go to the Orikhiv sector. This is a very, very major frontline change at Orikhiv. So previous frontline change, we noted the Russian forces entered the center of Tomashka. And so this time around, we have geolocation of Russian forces along this tree line and defense line. And because of how the geography works and the fact that it's a drone strike on the Russian position, so this entire straightened front line is all taken by the Russian forces. So all of these areas here are all taken by Russian side, and this is corroborated by Russian mapping. Russian mapping claim that this sector here, from the previous geolocation all the way to the south, where this geolocation is, all of these areas is claimed in the Russian mapping to be taken by the Russian forces. So the entire Orikhiv sector, the entire front line here has collapsed, entirely collapsed. So it remains to be seen whether the Russians will push even harder into Novosilka. But if they do, then it's going to be a massive PR disaster for the Ukrainians, and I bet no one in the pro-Ukrainian space is going to talk about it. The advance in the south is probably around 3.5 kilometers on average, or at least 3 kilometers on average. So it's pretty significant. The east to west from in the south of Malatomashka is around 4.3 kilometers. So these are all very big frontline changes. Massive collapse. Orikhiv itself is 38.5 square kilometers captured by the Russian forces, so it's massive. And we have one last frontline change is over the Kamyanske sector. So Ukrainian mapping have updated that they have retaken this facility here. So I think it might be hospital previously. So this is retaken again by the Ukrainian side. Claim is a claim. And this also includes all of the residential area of Stepnohursk. However, this is a claim. I cannot really confirm if this is true because of the way how previously it was confirmed by geolocation, the captures. So let's wait and see how this goes. Especially the Ukrainian mapping is very suspicious as this sector here was not marked as blue, as a retaken gray zone. So the Ukrainians have totally ignored the geolocations. So that reduced the amount of capture. So whatever it is, let's see. Oh, it's a school. So there's so it's a residential area. My bad. It's a residential area. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. So these are all the frontline changes in the past 48 hours, past 2 days. So I'm going to choose maybe this area here as the background as we do some calculation. So the Ukrainian one I already calculated is actually 27.22 plus 2.57, 29.79 square kilometers over the past 2 days, which is pretty decent, but largely is due to this sector here of the Pokrovsk breakout zone where the previous geolocation is now claimed, and how 1/3 of it is actually captured by the Ukrainian side. So still very well done. The Russians previous 3 days ago have 18.91 for 2 days. So I think I did say that the coming frontline changes is going to help to cover it. So we shall see. So 5.1 plus 2.24 plus 0.76 plus 1.75 plus 15.58 plus 24.31 plus 2.4 plus 12.39 plus 38.5. So this 103.03 square kilometers changes by the Russian side. So this is insane. 103.03. So that's why I say there's so many frontline changes. It's insane, and I didn't manage to have time to do. I got past the window to do a frontline changes report. So I didn't manage to do it. So I do other reportings. So if I plus this 103.03 plus 18.91. If I plus 18.91 divided by 4 is a 30 square kilometers per day. So average out 30 square kilometers. So it is a very big offensive that's currently happening with the Russians capturing 30 square kilometers per day. So this is the average for the past 4 days. So I'm spot on the offensive. I'm spot on how the frontline change is going to compensate for the lack of frontline changes in the past around 3 days ago. So I'm expecting more frontline changes as the Russian offensive has not ended. They are still ongoing. So we shall continue to monitor. So thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe. Happy birthday to you for birthday today. You see, this birthday wish is very hard to get because you need to watch like almost half an hour of video. And also, check out the situation report later because I will be talking more about the analysis. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next update.